All right, y'all, we got to talk about the crimes of this regime because they are getting more and more out of control on a daily basis. On a daily basis, it's getting worse. So let me start with this. Trump came out, I believe today, and called for J.B. Pritzker and Mayor Johnson of Chicago to be arrested. Look at this. So Axios says the following. President Trump on Wednesday said Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker and Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson should be jailed for, quote, failing to protect ICE officers. By the way, keep that in mind because what I'm about to show you is beyond disturbing. Trump is whining about ICE officers not being safe. Meanwhile, you're about to see clip after clip, picture after picture, story after story of ICE agents harassing the shit out of and assaulting the shit out of innocent people, including an 84-year-old married couple. And he has the nerve to whine about, unfair treatment of the agents. Fuck off. Jesus Christ. All right, here we go. Trump, who has a long history of saying political opponents should be put behind bars, is escalating his feud with leaders in Chicago, where his administration's immigration crackdown and troop deployment have been met with fervent opposition. Neither man has been accused of committing a crime. Trump's combative rhetoric follows a lawsuit from Illinois and Chicago seeking to block Trump's unlawful deployment of federalized National Guard troops in Chicago. Quote, the Chicago mayor, this is Trump, so I should say, Chicago mayor should be in jail for failing to protect ICE officers. Trump wrote on Truth Social Wednesday morning, Governor Pritzker also. Both leaders have rejected the idea that federal troops are needed in Chicago. Pritzker said he would, quote, not back down in an X post. Trump is now calling for the arrest of elected representatives, checking his power. What else is left on the path to full-blown authoritarianism? Johnson responded, this is not the first time Trump has tried to have a black man unjustly arrested. I'm not going anywhere. An emboldened Trump has used the Justice Department to target his political foes, including former FBI Director James Comey. He also publicly demanded Attorney General Pam Bondi go after Adam Schiff and New York Attorney General Letitia James. Now, by the way, I should give you an update on that. They are struggling to find anybody at the DOJ who will take up the James Comey case. In fact, they're going to have to contract outside of the DOJ. Letitia James, they're having a similar thing. Everybody's going, there's no fucking crime here. What do you want me to do? There's no crime here. And Trump is trying to fire people if they don't do these political persecutions. The Texas National Guard members arrived in the Chicago area on Tuesday. Hold on that. I got more stuff for you on that in just a little bit. More personnel are expected to hit the streets as Trump authorized the deployment of some 300 Illinois National Guard members over the weekend. Now, remember, guys, this is at the exact same time that courts are looking at this and courts are going, your argument makes no sense, Trump. A MAGA judge appointed by Trump said, your argument is bullshit trying to send the National Guard and troops into Portland. You said it was a war zone. When you called it a war zone, there were literally 20 protesters outside of the ICE facility, and none of them were being violent. So Trump's own judges are going, are you insane? Are you mental? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? And then Trump sends in these people, and then more violence happens. Then chaos erupts because he is the catalyst of the violence. He raises the tensions. He increases the flames every single time. All right, well, we're just getting started on this one, y'all. Ready? Wall Street Journal reports the following. Thousands of federal agents once tasked with investigating drug smuggling, sexual exploitation, and organized crime have been redirected to immigration enforcement. So this is exactly what we reported when Stephen Miller berated ICE agents and said, what the hell are you doing going after drug smugglers and human traffickers and organized crime? What are you doing going after them? Don't do that. Go to the local Home Depot and start picking up day laborers. I'm not kidding. He chastised and berated them and said, I don't care about quality of who you get. I don't care about getting the worst of the worst criminals. No, drop that. I care about quantity. Go get the little abuela down the street who's been here totally peacefully for 3 decades. Why? Because we care about the numbers. That's all we care about. This is insane. Even the Wall Street Journal, this is a right-wing outlet, guys. This is a right-wing outlet. And they're looking at this going, holy shit, are you guys insane? All right, more. ICE knocked down 84-year-old married couple and send wife to the hospital bloodied with a concussion. Quote, with no warning, the feds charged us, knocked us down, and sprayed us. I was hit in the head with a projectile. Probably a pepper ball, by the way. Husband was shocked by agents' behavior, and he served 10 years in Vietnam. Quote, it was not the kind of crowd that shouts the F word. There were families. People have to know that we are not Antifa. I always thought people must be provoking them or something, that they would never do this unprovoked. Obviously, I was wrong. Richard and Lori Ekman live just a few blocks away from the protest outside the ICE facility in South Portland, Oregon. They are radicalizing the normies. A normie 84-year-old married couple is going, turns out they're the ones always starting shit. Oh, you don't say. So the peaceful protesters are peaceful and do the right thing at all times, and then the thugs come in, decked out in military gear and covering their faces, and they start assaulting people? That's exactly right. All right, here we go. Let me watch the video with you. So this is the couple right here, and this is, I guess, shot with a pepper ball. Got hit with some projectile, bleeding. 84 years old. 84 years old. 84. And there's the blood that was dripping down her shirt. 84 years old. Insane. Look at this couple. Look at this couple. I know I've said it 1,000 times. You'll hear me say it 10,000 more times. All of these ICE Gestapo thugs need to be arrested and need to be put in prison. We need new Nuremberg trials. And these guys are first in fucking line, committing crime after. It's a whole agency built on crimes, built on pretending the Constitution doesn't exist and people don't have any rights. According to CBS News, ICE agents have been making fake 911 calls in Chicago. Totally lawless behavior from an agency that's supposed to enforce the law. This is wild, bro. This is wild.
You are watching as Broadview police respond to a 911 call, claiming someone was tampering with a gate at the ICE detention facility there. Body camera footage obtained by the CBS News Chicago investigators shows several Broadview police officers respond to an alleged Homeland Security threat. The gate in question is where ICE takes detained immigrants for processing.
What's up, guys?
Hey, what's up?
Not much.
How are you?
Good. We got a call of subjects trying to climb over the fence or something.
Not since we've been here.
But when police arrive, all they find is two people and a camera. Our CBS photographer filming the exterior of the building with a CBS security guard by his side.
Okay.
Now understand, to these liar Gestapo thugs, they consider this a threat. They consider this violence. Journalists doing their job is unacceptable to the deputized Proud Boys and white nationalists of the ICE Gestapo Thug Brigade.
You guys didn't tamper with any of those?
No, man. The 911 call claiming someone was tampering with the gate came from an ICE agent. According to this incident report, an ICE agent called police for help.
But he can't go and try to force his way in that door.
Okay, so the guy...
He just says that he was just recording.
Do you believe that that was a false call?
I do.
Again, it was just our CBS photographer filming the exterior of the building.
In your mind, bogus.
Yes. It's disturbing. It's ridiculous.
Broadview Police Chief Thomas Mills says this is just one of several questionable 911 calls his police department has received from ICE at this facility recently. This same detention center has become the site of at least 3 other incidents involving federal agents who are accused of hitting people with cars, shooting projectiles, and using chemical agents on journalists, including a CBS reporter last Sunday.
Hitting people with cars. The ICE agents are hitting people with cars and then fleeing the scene. They're shooting tear gas and whatnot at journalists. So now, guys, by the way, this isn't just a one-time thing. It's now happening across the board. The cops in all of these cities are going, oh, these motherfuckers are the problem, bro. The cops are saying that. I'm not even kidding. For the first time, the entire left is going, back the blue. They're being honest. They're saying, hey, the ICE Gestapo thugs are being ICE Gestapo thugs. They're starting the trouble, and then they're whining. They're being cry bullies, acting like they're the victims when they're the perpetrators. How about this? Indian man to be deported by ICE after they mistake perfume for illegal drugs. Officer found a bottle labeled opium in his car, then assumed it must contain the narcotic. Despite all charges being dropped, he spent 30 days in jail, had his visa revoked, and faces deportation. Kapil Raghu is married to a U.S. citizen. He claims his attorney failed to file updated immigration status in a timely manner. The Arkansas State Crime Lab concluded beyond any doubt that the substance in the bottle was perfume, not opium. The incident occurred in the Benton suburb of Little Rock, Arkansas. Let me ask you a question. If you're going to ride around with a bottle and it happens to be heroin or opium or any sort of opiate or opioid, would you write opium on the bottle? Is that what you do? Would you let everybody know, here are my drugs? I have my drugs. Of course not. Oh my God. Oh my God. All right, let's watch.
I talked with Kapil Raghu and his wife, Ashley Mays. You can see his arrest right here. Officers said he had an illegal substance in his car. However, they later found that wasn't the case. And even though Kapil has now been released, the family says it continues to cause them problems. Problems they say are far from over.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law.
I'm confused on why he's going to jail. I want to say this, please.
That video shows officers taking Kapil Raghu into custody in the parking lot of a Benton gas station.
You got a vial of opium. That was in your center console. Go and take a seat.
But that bottle of opium wasn't filled with the illegal substance, but instead a perfume with the same name. By the time the Arkansas State Crime Lab figured that out, Raghu was already in the Saline County Jail, where it was discovered that he was on a temporary visa that had expired. He had been trying to become a permanent citizen, but this put a stop to that and sent him to an ICE facility in Louisiana.
She used to call me every night crying, and my stepdaughter putting a Bible on her chest crying, even if that's what my stepdaughter was crying a lot. And she was planning to sell her cars and move to some other country where we can live happily.
Raghu was released after 30 days, but now he's in limbo. All his previous work towards becoming a citizen has been wiped out. He's not allowed to hold a job.
I had to take out a loan to pay for our bills and to put money on his books and just hire additional attorneys and things along that lines. So financially, it's been extremely rough.
That led Raghu to take the step of writing a letter to ICE's legal office, asking that he be allowed to resolve his immigration status through the proper legal channels, as he was doing before his arrest. That letter delivered this week.
It was very intimidating and very we're not bad people. We didn't do anything wrong. We're just a normal family.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. All right, ready for this? Members of the Texas National Guard have arrived in Illinois, according to sources familiar with their whereabouts, and video taken of them at an Army Reserve training facility in Chicago suburb. Here is the Texas National Guard. And you had Greg Abbott go, the fearsome fighting force, the Texas National Guard is going to lay down the law. That's what they're going to Chicago to make sure everything's run smoothly and is all right. Meanwhile, people took one look at this photo and they went Insky. They were calling them Meal Team 6. They were calling them Gravy Seals. These dudes were getting roasted. Because if we're being serious, look at them. Look at them. It perfectly encapsulates the Trump era. Because at the same time, we're dealing with straight up evil, demonic fascists, which is exactly what the Trump regime is. At the same time, they're also incompetent, fucking ridiculous, buffoonish type people. So in the midst of ordering a fascist crackdown, here's the fucking Paul Blart mall cop is showing up to be the jackbooted thug. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. All right, more. Let me just scroll down here. Meal Team 6, and then we need more voices like this. We actually covered this the other day. This is a black U.S. veteran who went to town and called ICE traitors. Go watch that video that we did and go subscribe to Jordan Chariton's Status Coup. He's the guy who got this video, and he's been on the ground reporting on all these protests nonstop. For my next act, I will make freedom-loving small government conservatives defend a police state. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So anyway, Meal Team 6 and Gravy Seals is what these people are being referred to as. All right, more. ICE just coldly shot an unarmed priest in the head with a pepper ball when he and everyone around him clearly posed no threat. Watch this, y'all. This is crazy. See that? Did you see that? Oh. So understand what's happening here. They're literally, this is like shooting fish in a barrel for them. None of these people are armed. None of these people are causing any problem whatsoever. They're using their First Amendment rights. They are using their First Amendment rights. That's all this is. Constitutionally protected speech. The right to free speech. The right to protest. And here's a priest standing there and gets shot in the head with a pepper ball from about, 20 feet away? If that? This video alone, I'm telling you, everybody save this video. This needs to be brought up at the next Nuremberg trials, and these 3 thugs on the roof should be locked up for fucking life for what they've done. All right, so remember, the other day, we talked about the invasion of Chicago, where the ICE Gestapo thugs made a video of them basically going... they're in a Black Hawk helicopter. They rappel down. They arrest this entire apartment building of people. Turns out they're all fucking citizens. They also zip-tied the hands of children, and some of the children were naked. Zip-tied their hands and threw them in the back of a U-Haul. That's what happened. That's what happened. And so you have Trump and Kristi Noem and all these ghouls are out there going, oh, the people are fucking ecstatic that we're there to save the day. They got all this lawlessness, all this insanity, and our agents are showing up and saving the day. They're like superheroes. And now, is that actually what they think? Well, take a look.
She says they took everyone and then asked questions later. They just treated us like we were nothing.
Patricia Fisher said she came out to the hallway of her apartment complex on the corner of 75th and South Shore Drive in her nightgown around 10 Monday night, only to find ICE agents yelling police.
It was scary because I've never had a gun put in my face. They asked my name and my date of birth and asked me did I have any warrants, and I told them no, I didn't.
She said she was then handcuffed and released around 3 a.m. Fisher says she was told if anyone had any kind of warrant out for them, even if it was unrelated to immigration, they would not be released. Citizen video shows the chaotic scene overnight. Neighbors tell us there were dozens of ICE agents. Neighbors like Ebony Watson says they ducked for cover as they heard several flashbangs go off.
They was terrified. The kids was crying. People was screaming. They looked very distraught. I was out there crying when I seen the little girl come around the corner because they was bringing the kids out too. Had them zip tied to each other. That's all I kept asking. Where's the morality? Where's the human? One of them literally laughed. He was standing right here. He said, them kids.
Watson says budget trucks and military-style vans
I forgot about that part. Yeah, one of the ICE agents said, fuck them kids, as they zip-tied naked children.
were used to separate parents from their children. Other neighbors say they saw agents destroying property to get in the building.
And they had a big 15-inch chainsaw with a round blade on it, cutting this fence down. We're under siege. We're being invaded by our own military.
The FBI did confirm this morning that they did help the U.S. Border Patrol carry out a targeted immigration enforcement operation in this area, and they say they have been supporting these efforts at the direction of the U.S. Attorney General.
Now, you just watched that. Meanwhile, Stephen Miller was on CNN and he said, the black people in Chicago are thrilled that we're getting the illegal aliens out of their communities who steal their housing and their jobs. Just shameless, disgusting liars. Ready for this? Man released from prison after 43 years for crime he didn't commit. Now ICE is immediately deporting him. He was a legal permanent resident before his arrest and wrongful conviction, living in the U.S. since 9 months old. We're going to deport him. We're going to deport him. He's got no other place that he calls home. Subu Vedum is the longest-serving exonerated prisoner in the history of Pennsylvania. His attorney argues that the immigration removal order should also be vacated, as it only exists because of the original overturned murder conviction. So, in other words, it was the incorrect imprisonment that they're now using as the justification to kick him out. But it was incorrect. It was incorrect. All right, so here, let's watch.
Another twist in the case of the state college man whose murder conviction was reversed this week. After spending more than 40 years in jail, he was released from prison today and immediately taken into custody by the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency. Gary Sinderson tells us what he's learning so far about the man's future.
Thursday, the decision was made by Center County prosecutors to drop the murder case against Supermonium Vedum after Vedum was granted a new trial. After spending more than 40 years in the state prison, Vedum was released from prison Friday, but he was immediately taken into custody by federal agents from Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Vedum's attorney confirming Vedum was transferred to the Moshannon Valley Immigration Processing Center. Pennsylvania Department of Corrections confirming a federal detainer was placed against Vedum back in 1988. At that time, Vedum was a convicted murderer, found guilty in the 1980 shooting death of his friend Thomas Kinzer. That changed this week with the murder case dropped against Vedum, but what impact the change in Vedum's case has on the federal proceedings or possible deportation is unknown at this point. In Center County, Gary Sinderson.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. ICE snipers shooting rubber bullets at a crowd. Again, take note of how none of these people are a threat. Watch. Look at this.
Shooting fucking rubber bullets down at this crowd, and listen, they ain't doing shit.
Their hands are up. Their hands are up. They're not a threat in any way, shape, or form, and they're getting lit the fuck up with rubber bullets, which can send you to the fucking hospital, by the way. Can we just call it what it is? These are little dicked freaks. These are sadistic assholes who got tiny cocks. They can't fucking pleasure a woman, and so they sign up to be Miss fucking Rambo, bro. I'ma light up innocent people on a daily basis, bro. I hope you're fucking proud of yourself. I hope you're proud of yourself for this.
They're just standing there flipping them off.
A federal agent points a weapon at a woman who was recording them. Jess, a U.S. citizen and member of a neighborhood patrol team that documents and shares ICE activity across the city, was filming when the incident occurred earlier today in the Berwyn area. So this picture here is now going viral. This picture is now going viral. There's just a woman who's recording. No threat in any way, shape, or form. These are protesters that are putting out fires that were started by ICE on purpose. So you have ICE agents starting fires and protesters putting them out. Look. And they're cheering for that. That looks to me like it might be tear gas. But this is par for the course, that it's the regime thugs that are starting all the problems, and it's the protesters that are solving them. All right, and finally we'll end with this one, because this is catching up to the Republicans. There's a reason why Trump's approval rating is 37%. There's a reason why the country is fucking running away from MAGA at 1,000 miles an hour. There's a reason why all the Rogan Sphere idiots are now embarrassed that they were ever affiliated with Trump. And so, shout out to the person who made this ad here, Joe Jacobson, founder of the Democratic PAC Progress Action Fund. This ad says it all. There's a 35-second ad, and it is so fucking poignant. Watch this.
I had a really good time today.
Yeah, me too. I really look.
What are you doing?
She's coming with us.
What are you talking about? Who are you?
I'm your Republican congressman. Now that we're in charge, we're rounding up illegals.
She was born here. She's a citizen.
I don't care. She looks like one of them. But don't worry. When she's in prison in El Salvador, she'll have lots of company.
The homegrowns are next. Donald Trump, April 16th, 2025. It is a civil war. It is a civil war. What's happening is you're having the National Guard of various deep red states being deployed in blue cities. And it's happening in blue city after blue city after blue city. The ICE Gestapo thugs are being deployed in blue city after blue city after blue city. It's a civil war where only one of the sides is fighting, and that one side that's fighting is fighting incredibly dirty. And it's always up to the blue states to have higher standards, to believe in peaceful, nonviolent resistance. We are always held to a stricter, more rigid standard. We're always treated more like the adults, and the right is always treated with fucking baby gloves like the little bitch-ass toddlers they are. And this is the result. This is the result. We have a fascist president who's invaded the United States of America. At the same time, he's bombing Iran and bombing Yemen and bombing Somalia and bombing Venezuela. This is completely and utterly unhinged. And we cannot survive 4 years of this. We need the 25th Amendment, or we need him impeached and removed, and we need him tried, and the entire regime needs to be tried, because none of this is fucking legal. All of it's unconstitutional. And if you want any safety and security in the world for the rest of our fucking lives, there needs to be consequences. People need to be held accountable legally for what's going on. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.